AI, in the travel, here we go. Got that AI on the low, taking flights to and fro, booking trips in a snap with a simple chatbot flow. AI, revolutionizing how we roll. Gonna hop on a plane, feeling so.
Welcome to another episode of the Everything AI in Travel podcast, where we hear from the makers, shapers, and buyers of AI technology in the travel space. Here's your host, Tony Khan.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Everything AI in Travel podcast. And today we've got a real veteran from the destination marketing side of the tourism industry, a man who spent over 15 years at Simpleview and has now gone out and launched a new AI product and business called Swix AI. Welcome to the show, Jason Swick. How are you going?
Hey, thanks for having me. You and I talked before, Tony, which is funny because I ran a podcast for a long time, hundreds of episodes, but being flipped now and being on this side of the fence is certainly different. But very nice to be here. Thank you for accommodating me and having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely no pleasure whatsoever. I like to get people under the hot lamp and really grill them. So I hope you're buckled up for that one. But no, obviously it's not like that at all. I'm really just interested in what people are doing and which parts of the industries are breaking out in AI as we kind of race through this new existence that we're all living through. And it was fascinating to see that someone with such great subject matter knowledge as yourself was jumping into it and helping to do that orchestration piece for the DMOs in particular. And we'll get to exactly what you're doing in that in a moment. But first, I just love to, for those who don't know you, get a little bit about your background. You and I have somewhat a similarity in that we spent a long time with our companies. I was 17 years at Intrepid and building really strong subject matter knowledge there. And you've done something very similar at Simpleview. So run us through kind of a little bit about your background and your time at Simpleview.
Yeah, for sure. I'll even predate that because I think it'll give some good context for what led me here and how we came here. I think
I did tell you can't talk about your golf swing, mate. Okay.
I won't do that. And listen, trust me, nobody wants to hear about that anyways, right? Yeah, the golf is one thing. And the fact that I'm here should tell you how good I was at golf. But outside of that, I came to this from still in hospitality, but more on the golf industry side. And working in that, tried playing professionally for a while. That found out pretty quickly that wasn't going to work out. And along the way, I was working with my brothers. At the time, both of my brothers, for folks that maybe don't know, are also both engineers and developers and are really smart and have been doing that for a long time. And at that time, we had found a need to help book golf vacation businesses. And we had started a small company called Vacation Caddy, where we did golf vacation packages, really for those courses and those facilities that weren't like a typical resort you might see, Tony, where they have a golf facility attached to a resort and all these other things. These are more for like standalone properties and standalone accommodations properties that could bring the two together. The resorts needed an amenity to drive people to stay there. The courses needed a place for people to stay to drive this group business. And so we had built this thing called Vacation Caddy that would allow folks to be able to book these golf events on their side. Getting out of that, though, with a lot of the financial change and things that had happened with a lot of us in 2008, which feels like an eternity ago.
Wasn't a fun time.
Got out of that side of the business and had an opportunity to take a lot of the learnings that I had on the digital marketing side and continue that through Simpleview. So came on at Simpleview in 2010. Honestly, probably the greatest job I ever had. Like the Ryan George, and for folks that know them, and Scott Wood and Bill Simpson and some of the other owners of the company, they're just fantastic people and just a great place to work. But I was also at a time when things were really starting to change within the travel industry. At that time, right now we're going through the AI wave, but at that time, social media was just starting to come about. And I remember sitting at a time when a lot of DMOs were like, oh, we'll never do social media. And then that changed. We saw the same things happen with mobile when we had Mobilegeddon and everybody talking about moving to responsive websites and things of that nature. Saw the same thing with data a couple of years ago, and now we're seeing the same thing with AI. So seeing that real opportunity, I worked up through the business at Simpleview. I've always had my eye to innovation and what's coming next. I think that keeps you sharp and keeps you looking out ahead. Certainly you want to keep your feet grounded in what you're doing, but you should always keep an eye to what's coming. This felt a little different. And so having this opportunity now to be able to experience this next wave, which I'm sure you and I will talk to a little bit more on the AI side, is something I'm really excited about. So taking a lot of my industry expertise and what I've learned from the podcast, from my wonderful time at Simpleview and all that, and bringing it now to be able to help DMOs out on the AI side is something I'm really passionate about and very excited about.
For sure. And for those in the industry and who are not from the DMO
Yeah.
world, they might not be familiar with Simpleview at all. Sorry. But if you're from airlines or hotels or whatever, you might not know Simpleview. Give us a kind of a rundown of what Simpleview did.
Yeah, yeah. Simpleview is really like the largest provider of CRM and CMS, like websites in the industry, along with digital marketing services. So if you work in a destination marketing organization, CVB, which we refer to here in the States, it's referred to many different things across the world. They're really the leading provider for technology solutions around web, CRM, and digital marketing services.
Very good, very good. And what were some of the roles that you did in there that built up your institutional knowledge around
Yeah,
it?
good question. Lots of different things, right? As you're working, when I came on board, the company was still pretty young. So it was in that, I would call it in that startup mode. But I came in doing a lot of paid media on that side, right? So my background is on that side. I took a lot of the experience I had from running the small golfification business and brought that into that world. So I started off working in paid media at first, which was a good way to cut my teeth and get used to the industry. And then a few years after I got into that role, I had the opportunity to take over that department as it was growing. So I took over that department. I think at the time it might have been 6 or 7 different people in that department as we were growing those services, and then ran the digital marketing, or I call it like the agency arm of Simpleview at that time, for about a decade. So until like mid 2020. So when I started, 6 or 7 people. I think when I handed it off and moved into a different role at Simpleview, I think we had 47 people on the team at that time. And we were doing a lot of different things: email marketing, SEO services, paid media services, all the things that you would see on that side from a digital marketing standpoint. But as the pandemic came, it came for a time for the company to restructure and do some things. And so I moved more into I would call like a consulting role, where working more on digital strategy, as we were more channel focused, Tony, at that time. Hey, we're going to be really good at paid search. We're going to be really good at SEO. We're going to be really good at those things. More and more folks asking us about doing campaign work and things of that nature, which I always wanted to do, is peel the layers back and really provide that full solution. And the fact that Simpleview had this great tech stack that allowed us to be able to offer both the technology side as well as the services side, it made a lot of sense. So I made a transition in like mid to late 2020 as we restructured all that things in the company, move over to really the digital strategy side of the house. So I took a team of folks over that way, built a whole digital strategy service where we were running more campaigns and things of that nature for some of Simpleview's largest clients.
Very good. Now, a couple of weeks ago, very excitingly, you launched your new business, Swix AI, and you put out a post around the reasons why you thought this was the right time and the right move. And you dug in fairly deeply on some of the bottlenecks and issues and data isolation and these types of things that you've seen with clients that you've worked with in DMOs. Run us through, for those who haven't read that post, what are some of the issues that you're hoping to solve with Swix AI?
Yeah, I think some of the challenges that honestly have probably been in this industry for a really long time. And probably 3, I think, problems that probably stand out to me, that this is probably not even new to any other business, but certainly for DMOs in that space, right? There's always been these 3 kind of areas that I've seen, right? One is a capacity problem. I think that's a real reality for DMOs. I think the expectations keep growing, but oftentimes the resources don't keep up with that type of stuff, right? There's more channels to manage, there's more content to create, there's more personalization that's expected. So same team, same budget. And for a lot of DMOs, hiring isn't always an option, unfortunately. So AI is probably, I think, a way to be able to help close the gap without burning people out along the way. So I think capacity problem is certainly one of those challenges that's not new, but I think AI can really help with. Then you got the speed problem, right? Travel moves pretty darn fast. I would say AI moves a lot, feels like it's moving a lot faster. Tony, if you're like me, I know you're pretty heavy on social. It feels like every day there's something new or something incredible coming out. But having the ability to be able to move a lot faster than maybe we historically have, right? Whether that's a viral moment, maybe there's like a weather event, maybe there's a new direct flight to your destination, whatever that may be. By the time teams oftentimes can get around and respond to those things, the moment may have passed. So I think AI really doesn't replace good judgment, but it certainly can dramatically compress the time from really idea to execution. So instead of a week maybe to get something done, maybe now we can get it done in hours. And then lastly, I think the thing that comes to mind is like the knowledge problem. I've seen teams where, listen, we experienced this as well when I was at Simpleview, right? Teams where institutional knowledge lives in many different places, and a lot of times some of it's in someone's head. And if that person goes on vacation or that person leaves or something happens, it's a crisis, right? It feels like cutting off an arm. So it's a tough place to be. I think AI can really help to be that connective tissue for that type of thing. It can hold the context. It can help hold the history, the brand guidelines, what makes the knowledge more accessible to everyone and who needs it. I think it can help solve those problems that we have in the space today as we go through this evolution for marketers. So I think that was a real turning point for the need for something in this space.
For sure. It almost sounds like DMOs are almost a beachhead for Swix, because all those problems you mentioned happen in tour operators as well, I can tell you. And I'm sure they happen in every other part of the tourism industry, and then every other part of every business, because, everyone, if you ask them, hey, would you like some more help? Nobody's going to say, no, I'm good, thanks. Of course, everybody is overworked and trying to do their best on what capacity they have. There's always more capacity that if they had that ability to have more time, they would get more done for sure. And I think this is kind of the real movement that we're working through right now.
Mm-hmm.
So like you, I really believe that we're moving into a great phase for humans to clean up a lot of the stuff that we don't like doing. It takes a lot of our time. And I think the other point that you mentioned there that kind of really resonated with me is that because of that lack of time, because we are doing a lot of busy work and maybe low value work, we don't actually have time to keep up on the innovation, right? It is actually really difficult to understand how fast this thing is moving and understand where the opportunities lie, because it changes so quickly, and you can't really have a lot of attention on that and keep focus on your day-to-day. And I think they're the problems that you sound like you're really digging into.
Yeah, listen, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's hard to keep track of this. And it's also hard because as you start to make those decisions from an organization standpoint, I think the fear oftentimes with innovation is, oh my gosh, I'm gonna start veering down path A. And then, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get down this road and I'm gonna have to pivot to path B looks like it's better, or path C looks like it's better. Oh my gosh, what have I done? And that certainly is amplified and exaggerated with all the things that we're seeing in AI and it moving so quickly. So that was really part of what steered me in that direction too. Also, there's things I see across many different platforms and things that are out there that are wonderful. Like I like a chat experience over here. I really like maybe with Claude, or I like with ChatGPT, but then I like some of the image generation stuff I get from Gemini. And then I love to be able to like automate workflows and just become more efficient with things like N8N or Make or other tools. So it really got me thinking about this stuff a lot, really on the side when we were thinking about these things, was taking the best of all these things and bringing them into one place. Certainly there's a lot of tools out there that are really crafted for individuals and work really well. And a lot of them, at least in my experience, work pretty well on the individual side of the house, like in my day-to-day life, like it works good, but maybe not so much at work. Right. So the thought going into it was, how do we build something for the organization to get behind AI, not like one or two individuals? So a lot of that went into our development and our thought as well.
Hey everyone, it's Tony here, and we'll be back with our guest in a short moment. But I just wanted to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by Viderio. Viderio is a platform that helps travel companies measure the true business impact and outcomes of their content creator work, not just vanity metrics. If you want to see how brands like Intrepid and Carpe Diem, agencies like MMGY or GTI, or even destinations like Palau are gaining an advantage in creator marketing, then we welcome you to join us. With Viderio, at the moment, we've got a special offer for anybody who would like to try the Viderio platform. You can do so absolutely for free. We've got a case study that you can view to see exactly how the platform works. You can find it here in the show notes, and in there you'll also find how to sign up for the free trial. We'd love to see you and help you with your own social media journey, particularly on the content creator and influencer front. We look forward to working with you soon. Now back to the show. Yeah, for sure. And I know you're at the very beginning of your journey, and you've got some early customers that you're doing the early research with to find out exactly what they need and what they work with. Have you launched with a product suite? Do you already know what the buckets are that you're going to develop your orchestration levels around? Or are you really working with those customers and building out what they need and then seeing where the commonalities are across customers to do that product development?
Yeah, wonderful question. So today, like as you mentioned, towards the end of February, we had an official announcement that we're going live. So our product is live. It's ready today. If folks need to reach out to us, and we'll talk about this at the end. We're ready to go today. That said, we made an announcement back in November that something was coming and we were building something. Now, when I say build, I want to be very clear. Like, I am not a developer or a coder. Okay. My brother is the brains behind everything, right? He's the one with that expertise. Like, he built all the infrastructure. I knew the industry well enough to know where to point it at, right? After I had left. And so that combination felt like it was too good of an opportunity to pass up. And so As we built this, I'll explain, I mean, maybe at a high level, just the platform and how it's focused. This allows folks, I feel like, at every skill level to be able to get into AI, because you're going to certainly have certain folks, maybe there's somebody at the front desk that doesn't need it all that much, but they need to dabble in it. It might help them do their job better. And then you're going to have other individuals who are going to lean in real heavy, right? And then most people are going to fall, probably in my experience, somewhere in the middle. Keeping in mind, as we constructed this and put this together, we wanted to have a platform that worked for all of those levels. Those folks that maybe weren't in it all that often, but it felt really intuitive and easy to use, and a product that people could grow into over time as their experience started to evolve. So that's how we built it. And then building it all also, Tony, inside of a UI, I joke with my brother Josh about this, because I say, everything that we construct on this platform should be so our mom can use it. And if you've been in these tools, you're close enough to it, I think, my friend, that if you've worked in tools like N8N and some of these other tools, they're fantastic tools, okay? But they're pretty technical. And
there's a learning curve. There's a learning curve.
There is a learning curve, and that's being nice on some of these things. They're fantastic tools, but it's just one more thing we have to learn. It's one more thing I have to go to. And then what if something else happens? So as we built this, we wanted to take all the pieces of what was out there in the space and bring them into one place. So first and foremost, we have chat like what we know about things are today. That's a natural chat experience. It'll feel just like your chat experience in Claude or Gemini or any of those tools. The beautiful part about what we've built into the platform is the ability to connect to dozens of models. So if you're a house that likes using Claude, you have the capability and you have all the models available for that. If you're a place that likes ChatGPT, we have that built into it, and all those models, Gemini, Grok, anything you can think of. If there's models we don't have in our platform and you like those, we're open to hearing that too and incorporating that in. The reason I say that is it allows you not only to get with maybe the platforms that you're already married to a little bit, but at the same time, certain platforms still today are better at some things than others. This allows you, based on the task, to be able to pivot and use the model that you like. Not only that, the chat experience also allows you to connect to a local knowledge base. So you can load your information and context and things into that. And we can talk more about that as well. So we have that chat experience, what I would call like a starting point for folks. So as soon as you get in the platform, you should be able to see a value immediately, because it'll feel like what you're already used to doing. For those folks that want to take steps a little bit further and take your chat experience and put some work boots on it, we have AI Teammates. AI Teammates, if you're familiar with custom GPTs, it'll work very similar to that. So if you've built those custom GPTs, the beauty in our system, you can connect them to tools. We have hundreds of tools that you connect to. So if you use Monday, use Google Workspace or Microsoft 365 or all those, we can connect to all those things. So not only do our version of custom GPTs and Teammates work effectively, but they work with the tools you work with today. And a lot of folks haven't experienced that capability inside of AI. Certainly some of the forward-thinking folks like yourself and some others have, Tony. But in my experience so far, DMOs haven't really leveraged a lot of their day-to-day tools. And that's the real power of some of that stuff. So the easiest thing when you're first coming in is those what we call conversational AI. You can come have a chat experience. If you want to give it a persona now, we have Teammates. Okay. And we have the ability to be able to give those teammates and give that chat skills as well, so that if you like something a certain way, you can have it a certain way. If you like it creating a presentation a certain way, you can have it the way you like. This allows it to feel more personalized, okay, on that side. Now, as folks start to graduate from conversational AI to more automated AI, now we have kind of 3 levels of going through that. So for those folks that just want to dip their toe in a little bit, we have what's called quick flows. Quick flows is, I think about it as like the best place for that 2-minute fire drill when your boss needs something at 2 p.m. on a Friday and you need to create it for it real quick. And boy, I've had a lot of those, my friend. It allows you, think of it like a place to save your best prompts. And not only I can save your prompts in there, the prompts will stay in there and I can give them user input. So maybe there's a prompt you really like that you've really crafted on, that you've had to go back and forth with 10 times. Boy, if you have to do that every single time you use an AI platform, it's really frustrating and it slows you down. But if you get that prompt to a place that you really like, maybe it's something like for building an image, or maybe it's for the way that you like to get some type of internal brief or something put together, you can save that in quick flows, give it some input capabilities, and now you have those with one click, fill out something, and you're ready to go. Those things are done. So I call that step 1 for folks that are starting to lean into automation and agents. For those folks that are ready to go a little bit deeper, we have what's called action flows. So all of our things are named flows: quick flows, action flows and smart flows. Action flows is like, hey, I'm level 2 now. I've got that one-shot prompt. I'm ready to start like giving it processes and systems, what we would call sequential thinking or a sequential agent. Okay, so this is where you've got a process maybe at your DMO or at your company. And hey, step 1, I do this. Step 2, I do this. Step 3, I do this. Step 4, and then I get an output. Action flows helps you do that. Okay, it allows you to build a sequential. So maybe the first 2 steps, I've got to collect some information from somebody or maybe upload a file. Then maybe I need to go have it talk to the large language model, the LLM. And then maybe I needed to go talk to Gmail and then maybe go book something on my calendar and then send me an email back saying it's all confirmed and done. So action flows are that one step further than quick flows where it's more of a sequential agent and what probably looks more like full AI automation. Okay.
And are there steps along the way,
Yes.
the human in the loop type thing where it pauses between each step and asks you to, is this okay? Should I continue? Or it just gets you to the end? Or is it both? Or how does that work?
Good question. And the answer is both.
Okay.
We have the ability, because there's gonna be certain things where it's like, hey, I don't need to like get feedback on this thing until it happens. Human in the loop, though, or human review or user input review is something that's inherently built through the platform. I think, and this is probably a good segue into something else before I talk about smart flows. When we use the term agents, it's probably pretty bastardized, I think, across a lot of places, right? There's different levels of those things, and that's more marketers. Marketers love acronyms and they love messing things up over time, right? So I think
they're having a field day at the moment with those acronyms, I'll tell you.
Oh, we are, and I love acronyms, right? So if you think about agents, they fall in a scale, or what I would call a scale, right? You got simple chatbots. There's a million of those on the market now today. Those have what feel like agentic capabilities, but they're usually plugged into some type of system on the back end to give it context, right? That's what I would call like a level 1. Then you start to get into AI assistants. Those are more like LLM powered tools that hold a natural conversation, can answer questions and do those types of things. So that's a level 2. Level 3, then you're getting into AI automations, which is what action flows is, right? It's AI connected to real actions. So you can trigger workflows, pull data from tools or APIs, generate content, push that out to something automatically. That's what I call like a level 3. And we're really good at that stuff. We're really good at the AI assistants and the automations on Swix right now. As we start to move into more of a level 4, that's where I feel like AI agents are for where we're going. These are systems that can reason, they can plan, they can use tools and make decisions within a defined scope with human review. You just give them a goal, they figure out the steps. I think level 5, which is full autonomy, where we just let it go like OpenClaw. Personally, I don't think we're ever going to live in a world where we're going to feel comfortable with that at work. It scares me to death to think about just turning it over and saying, go figure it out, especially some of the horror stories that you hear about. With that stuff to me is good for headlines, Tony, and it's good for, oh my gosh, it like ran and did all this stuff. But then you hear the horror stories about it went into someone's inbox and deleted all their mail because it had come to some reasoning that it didn't need email anymore. So I think full autonomy is, I don't think we'll ever get there personally. I just don't see a world where that makes a lot of sense, especially with the data and security concerns that we have with the organizations that we work with. That's a pretty scary place to be. However, getting into AI agents that can reason, plan, make decisions, and then check in with you to go, hey, thumbs up or thumbs down, or do you need to make a change? That's what's on our roadmap right now and what we're working towards. So with that, then the last piece then is smart flows, which probably looks more like AI agents, which is that level 4 I'm talking about. This is where it's not necessarily sequential. So it doesn't go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It might go step 1, step 2, and then it goes, I may need to make a decision here based on what the user's query is. Do I need to go down path A, path B, or path C? And it determines what that is. And then it makes that decision, maybe loops back, right? And things of that nature. So those are the 3 areas that we have in the platform right now. We call them flows. Quick flows for those one-shots, action flows for those sequentials. And then when you're ready to graduate and you're ready to like really dig into AI and what probably looks more like some things in Zapier or some things in N8N, that's what smart flows is. All that said, right? Because I get a little verbose, right? But I'm passionate about this stuff because I wish this is a tool that existed 10 years ago when I was doing this stuff.
For sure.
But when you look at all of these things, it gives you we needed something in this space because these tools are so technical. DMOs don't have a time to learn 5 or 6 or 7 more tools and then get invested into it. And what ends up happening is there's one person on the team that gets really invested. And then what if that person leaves or takes off? Now that whole system collapses. So as we build our tool, it's meant for the organization. It's priced for the organization. So everybody's using it, whether they're a level 1 or a level 10. And those folks that are further along can help nurture some of the folks that aren't. And then if that person happens to get promoted or leave or whatever, all that knowledge is kept in that platform, so it can be leveraged and get other people up to speed a lot faster. So
yeah, I really like it. And the reason I like it is I've probably done, I don't know, 20, 25 consultations at different types of travel businesses across the past 2 years. And the problems I see, or not problems, but they're just realities within businesses, is that there's always a spectrum, right? So there's always a spectrum. There's people that are maybe like you and me who are like just into everything, trying everything, doing as much as they can, right down to the people who like typed one prompt ever once into ChatGPT and didn't like the answer and
that
gave
just
up.
doesn't work.
Correct. And that spectrum exists in every workplace, whether you like it or not. And what I've found in those businesses that I've consulted with is that they don't know how to work with all those different groups, right? There's not a way, not a place, not a system that they can go to that gives everybody what they need to advance the business forward. Because do they just choose this tool for the advanced users and who cares about the ones that are further down the line? And that doesn't work as well, right? Because the future of our businesses, the work is going to be done differently in 1 to 5 years. 5 years won't look like it does now. And so you need a system that does cater for everyone and give them the confidence to work at level 1 and then upgrade to level 2 and hopefully then really get passionate and find themselves at level 4 really quickly. And that's the ideal suite. And I know a lot of CEOs are really grappling with like, how do we bring this into our business in a way that can satisfy all these different levels? So that's kind of one. And then the fact that you allow for multi-platform, I think is just incredibly smart, because some people have their favorites, as you said. Some might have already signed an enterprise contract with one and have their access to a certain API or whatever, and they're kind of locked in. And the other reality is that everyone's releasing a new model basically every second week. And so you might be on Sonnet 4.6 now. It does everything you want perfectly in this particular area. 2 weeks' time, OpenAI will release something that will be better.
100%.
You want that opportunity
100%.
to switch over and at least give it a try.
100%. And you said a few things there that really resonated with me too, Tony. One is the fact that a lot of DMOs are really wrestling with this stuff, right? It's a tough place to be. And I get it. It's a big decision. The boards are putting a lot of pressure on these things. But again, that's why we wanted to make it organizational wide and thinking of things more strategically than through tactics. I think a lot of, in my experience, what I've seen a lot has been a lot of tactics where it's like, hey, I just get everybody Copilot and cool. Like I've checked the AI box. That is tactical. That's not strategic. And so just giving people a tool doesn't help. If I give somebody a hammer, that's awesome. But if that person doesn't know how to use the hammer and what it's used for, it's just another tool that's collecting dust on my shelf. What we're trying to say is we're going to give you the whole toolbox and you choose what. Sometimes you like a saw and maybe you like a screwdriver and maybe you like a hammer. Whatever works for you, use these tools and we'll help show you how to build a house. And let me even elaborate on that. We've done that also in a few different ways. One is each one of those sections I talked about, quick flows, action flows, and smart flows, you can build those manually in our platform like you would with any other AI automation or agent platform. The difference, I think, with ours is we have generate with AI. So if you can just tell it in natural language, like, hey, I know this is a sequential, but I don't know this. I don't have the technical wherewithal to build it out. I can just tell it, hey, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z with this goal in mind. Choose the model, and it'll just build it for you. It'll build it with the prompts. It'll build it with the connections and everything else. Now you need to go in and review it naturally and say, okay, is it connected to my right tools? Is it connected to those things? And it just takes care of that for you. So again, a tool my mom could use. We wanted to make it so easy that we know DMOs are like, oh my God, I got to learn another tool. How can we remove the friction? So certainly generate with AI is one of those places. The second place is our community marketplace. DMOs are all trying to solve the same problems. Okay, and certainly DMO A might solve that problem and want to share that with the community. And that's one thing I think you and I talked about this before, Tony, was like one of the best things about the travel and hospitality industry is that it's an industry that's so willing to share and learn from each other and everybody's comfortable in their own skin. Like I love that about this industry. And so lots of times when you go to conferences, we network and we go, oh wait, I have this problem. The guy goes, I solved that problem already. And they share with you how they did that. So having that marketplace like we had provides that ability for us to be able to load templates up. Somebody can download those templates into their organization, set up inside of Swix, connect their stuff up to it, and now the problem is solved. Now, naturally, that's going to get better as we get more people on the platform. But again, removing that friction so that rising tides raise all boats, and we all benefit from AI together. Because even some of the great automations that we've built so far are awesome, but the real good ones are going to come from the DMOs themselves. They're going to come up. There's so many smart people in this industry. They're going to come up with things that we haven't even thought of, and they're going to go, "Oh my gosh, I have this idea for this," and then they're going to want to share that with other people. So those are some of the ways that we remove that friction, helping them generate in the platform with AI so they can just speak in natural language what they want. It builds the automation or the agent, and then the ability to be able to leverage stuff in the community to be able to do that also. I think are some ways that we're thinking about how do we remove the friction and make AI accessible and easy to use for everybody.
Yeah, and it's a process that's worked so well for GitHub in the developer world in the past, and it's proven to be an absolute boon for everybody. And as you said, to have that tide raise all boats, and people get buzzed by having their workflow in the community, and then other people use it. Seeing that 46 other people are now using your workflow is a validation for your own skill set. It's something to put on your own resume, and just a source of pride. And people will come up to you at those conferences and say, "Hey, awesome workflow. You saved me X amount of hours each week. So thank you so much." And there's a lot of reward for it. And the other thing that kind of has gone through my mind as you've been talking here today is I've seen a different approach, like where a company might get in a consultant and say, "Okay, these are our issues. Can you help us solve them?" And they'll go, "Yeah, okay, we'll get this tool and we'll go over here and we'll solve that problem there. Okay, bring the next group in. Okay, you guys need this tool. Why you go over there and solve that?" At some point, that consultant's not going to be there anymore, right? Because the nature of their business is to come in, supposedly fix these things and then get out because you can't afford to have them in there. Whereas using a unified system and knowing how you've worked in the past with Simpleview, I know you're going to be there as their partner. Right? You're going to be there to 100%. Help them so that wherever they happen to be, level 1, 2, 3, or 4, and they have an issue, they've got one vendor that they need to contact to find a solution to their problem versus which vendor is it and can I even find that contact? We know that.
Yeah, 100%. It's such a good point you make there, Tony, with thinking about, listen, and consultants are fantastic because it helps you to build a roadmap. And I think I post pretty regularly on LinkedIn. We have a pretty good newsletter that goes out and stuff too. And we talked about on there the ability to be able to thinking about I'm trying to put this. I think in a way where you think about, hey, at some point in time, a consultant is good, but at some point, like if I'm going to the gym, it's cool to go to the gym, but at some point in time, you're going to have to do the push-ups. Like you can't just go, "Hey, this person put a plan together for me to lose weight and get fit," and you're like, "Cool, I'm good." No, you have to actually put that into practice now. I need to actually do the push-ups. I think Gary Vaynerchuk made us say something about that one time when he said, "Hey, at some point in time, you can't talk about doing push-ups. You got to do the push-ups to get fit." I think the same thing. The consultants are fantastic. It definitely helps with the board conversation. It certainly helps at the leadership and executive level. But listen, if you sat down with your team next week for an hour and just asked them what processes are just sucking time away from your life right now and write those things out, that's probably your AI roadmap.
Yeah, 100%. It's exactly
if you want to be practical.
Exactly the exercise I've done 20 times in 20 different companies. Yeah,
yes, that is your AI roadmap if you want to simplify. That's very simple, but that probably would do you a lot of good if you just did that.
For sure, yeah. Look at the bottom of your inbox. There's problem 1, the thing that you've been kicking the can down the road on for a long time.
100%.
That's where your problems exist. Jason, we're nearly out of time here, but if people have liked what they've heard today, they want to learn more, where do they find you on the internet?
Okay, yeah, a few different places. Certainly, listen, reach out to me personally if you have stories or just time to talk. I love connecting with people. You can reach me on my email address at jason@swix, that's SWIX.ai. That's probably the best way. You can certainly DM me on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn at Jason_Swick, SWICK. That's a great way. I post regularly on there. And then if you're looking for things each and every week, you can subscribe on our website to our insider list, which provides, I write some pretty good articles every week or two. That's a great way to stay on top of things. If you subscribe to our email list, it's a great way to get some of these articles a few days earlier. Otherwise, if you come to our LinkedIn Destination AI by Jason Swick newsletter, you can subscribe to our newsletter and that notification will pop in your inbox. Those are great ways to find out more about what we're doing with AI agents and automation. And the best, just hit me up on DM. I love talking to people, meeting people. we're all trying to solve the same problems. We're two sides of the same coin.
Perfect. And what's your conference roadmap look like in 2026? Where might people find you in person?
Yeah, I've got a few that I'm keeping an eye on. And I'll be quite honest with you, with trying to launch this thing, my head's been pretty down trying to get these automations and things working. I'll certainly be attending some, probably more in the second half of the year. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll find out where I'm going to be at. And that'll be a great way for all of us to connect and for you to hear more about Swix AI.
Perfect, buddy. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk us through what you're doing with your business. Really great to connect, and I hope the audience got a lot out of it. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Tony. Appreciate you having me on.
Too easy. That's it for another show, people. Thank you very much for listening in. Keep an eye out on your Spotify or your Apple podcasts and subscribe to us there to get all the latest information that's coming through about everything AI in travel. That's it for today. Thanks very much.
AI, in the travel, here we go. Got that AI on the low, taking flights to and fro, booking trips in a snap with a simple chatbot flow. AI, revolutionizing how we